try not to think too hard about each of them. Just go with your first gut response. That's usually the right one.
You're supposed to be doing both old and new?
Yep.
Right. For each word, indicate. Is it old, that is on that list that we read to you, or new, that is not on the list that was just read to you?
So you didn't hear it before. If you didn't hear it before in that list, it's a new
Right.
word. If you did hear it before, it's an old word.
Okay. Has everyone had enough time?
No,
Okay.
I need a little more time.
Okay.
I was confused.
All right, sorry. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to read out the answers. Okay? So, butter. New. Ice. Old.
I don't have ice. I don't have ice. Wrong shape.
Okay. Okay. May I borrow yours? Okay. All right. Hot. Food. Boat. Tooth. Eat. Bike. Sound. Sandwich. Bread. Sit. Legs. Wet. Seat. Thread. Snail. Table. Candy. Money. Chair. Tired. Air. Awake. Rest. Cloth. Web. Bed. Goat. Airplane. Sleep. Okay.
I don't remember sleep.
All right.
You checked a couple of them before, please.
Sorry?
To know whether they were old or new.
Yes. What people, mostly the group response was correct. However,
Was it always correct?
who said sleep was old?
Well, I did.
Right.
So it's slumber.
Sleep is new.
Right. What about bread? Who thought bread was old?
I thought it was new.
Yeah, okay. So this is the example we were trying to make here. And we'll go into that in a minute, okay? Oh, yes, I am so sorry.
The other one is chair.
Chair.
Who
thought
put chair as old?
Yeah, okay. So keep that in mind for a second. No. Keep that in mind for a second, and we'll go into that. Brian, do you want to come here?
Yep.
Can you go through this list again? We're gonna figure out which ones are Yeah, okay, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, all right. Do you want me to say the old ones again? Okay. This is what they were given. Yeah. Okay, so, butter is new. Hot.
Just give us the old ones.
Oh, you want the old ones, okay. Right, but it's not all of these. So, let me just go over the list again, and then you can look and see which ones were old and new. Sorry. This is what happens when you try a new demonstration, is that you get kinks. Let me just tell you what the point was. I'll tell you now. The point was, is that did you notice that some of the words were grouped? Right? Right, and you were probably trying to use that as a way to remember them, right? So when we start talking about retrieval, what we're going to talk about is how retrieval is not infallible, and how we use links among information to help retrieve things. And so when you have created these groupings in your head about sleep and bed and slumber and those kinds of things, then other words kind of get in there because they're related to that, right? And so it makes us a little vulnerable to mistakes when we retrieve, but it also gives us one of the strategies that we can use to retrieve as well. But there's usually two sides, right? We can use strategies, but sometimes they fool us. And we'll talk about that a little more. So that was the key. And I apologize for giving you the wrong list. And I can pass out, or we'll bring in next week perhaps the new list, and you can look at it again. Or maybe we'll do it at the end and see how things have improved. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what memory is. So memory is basically recording experiences in the brain so that you can use them later. That's the point of memory, right? And the key here is that memory is not a filing cabinet. Memory isn't, oh, I'm going to store this particular episode in this filing cabinet, and then when I need it, I'm just going to go back to that drawer, there's the label, and I'm going to pull it out again. Memory is really not like that at all. And memories are stored in networks of associations. So just like the associations you did there, when you were listening to those words, the memories are stored in these links and these networks. It's more like a fishing net. The brain, things get stored, distributed throughout the brain, and those associations are laid down in a way that helps you retrieve them later. So it's not like you have a spot in your brain for what you're going to learn today. What's going to happen is that the brain is going to just integrate all of the information into things that you already know, and it's going to store it throughout, and it's distributed throughout the brain. So knowing that helps us understand a little bit about how retrieval works and how cues help. Because what we can do with that is use the idea that things are related, things are associated in networks as a way to try to get at things when we want to pull them out later. And the idea of a memory trace then is, you may have heard that term, it's really the network. It's not a specific cell that's your grandmother's cell. People talk about, oh, there's a grandmother's cell and there's a a grandfather's cell and a kid's cell. No, it's really a network. And the idea behind this really comes back to Donald Hebb. And some of you may recognize that name, but he's a famous neuroscientist who's actually from Chester Basin, Nova Scotia. And he coined the phrase, cells that wire together, fire together. And the idea behind that is when brain cells are active, we call it they're firing, they're working. And cells that work together actually form connections. And those connections are what are part of the memory process and the memory recording. And so when you have cells working together and making associations, so when you're hearing the words like bagel and sandwich, you're making links between those. And those links are basically going to be, at the end of the day, a physiological change in the brain into a network that's going to allow you to retrieve them again later. Does that make sense? Okay. So, can you remember, what was the last movie that you saw?
Not just by the feet.
It's almost easy to remember whether you liked it or not, isn't it? Yeah. How about, where did you celebrate your 18th birthday? If it was unique, it might be easier, right? I remember my 18th birthday. Washington, D.C. was in flames because Martin Luther King had just been shot. So I remember exactly where I was on my 18th birthday. But we don't all have those unique experiences to help sort of cue and form into a network the memory of your 18th birthday. What was the name of your English teacher in high school?
Yeah, got that.
Miss Page for me. We all thought she was a bit crazy.
You have to be English.
You have to be, right. The capital of Manitoba. All right. Where's the M on the computer keyboard?
Yeah, right next to the end.
And what do you have to do? Right. Okay. How do you ride a bicycle? Can you tell me?
Balance.
Balance. What does that mean? What if I have never been on a bike? Can you tell me how to ride it? What are you going to tell me to do? Just get on and practice.
Wear a helmet.
Right, and wear a helmet. Okay, so we have many different types of memories. We have episodes in our lives that we remember. We have facts and words like the capital of Manitoba. We have procedures and skills. They're all different. They actually operate differently, and there are different parts of your brain, and they work differently, and they're all differently affected by aging. So episodes, the episodes for our lives. We have recent episodes, what you did for yesterday, like what you had for dinner, the movie you might have seen last week, and more remote episodes, like your 18th birthday, like the list we just presented. That's an episodic memory, right? And these memories are very rich in sometimes. They have things attached to them. They have sounds, they have maybe smells, they have emotions, they have context, they have where you were, they have all of these things, and all of these connections help form that memory. Semantic memory, knowledge, facts and words, that's a different type of memory. That's things that are stored in our brains, and you don't really know where you learned it. Where did you learn the capital of Manitoba? They just sort of are there in your brain. Okay, so they're a very different type of memory. And I'm making these distinctions because in a minute you'll see why. 2 times 3 equals 6, all those facts that we have stored in our brain. That's a semantic memory. Meanings of words. So when you recognize those words grouped together, you are using your semantic memory to help your episodic memory. Procedural is the other kind of memory, and those are the motor skills. They aren't really accessible in the same way. We can't actually express how you ride a bicycle. We can't say where the B is. We have to show you where it is. You have to point to it. Playing the piano is another one. You can't really say how you play Fur Elise, but you can sit down and show someone how to play it, right? So there are different kinds of memories. And the one that we're mostly usually focusing on is the episodic memory, right? The day-to-day stuff. And that's what we're going to focus on today and in the next 2 sessions in terms of how to make it better. But we're going to use what we know about semantic memory and the procedural memory to help the episodic memory. They're separate systems, but they work together. And that's the beauty of how you can improve memory. Okay, so let's talk about the 3 R's to a good memory. The first R, receiving, getting the information in. And we'll go into this in more detail. The second R, recording it, putting it down in the brain. The third R, retrieving, getting it back out again. It's not very useful unless you can get access to it, right? So, receiving, recording, retrieving. We're going to talk about all 3 of those. So let's start with this. Here's another demo. You don't need to write anything for this one. You just need to pay attention. Here's your job. You're going to see people throwing a ball to their teammates. There's the white team and the black team. If you've seen this video, please don't spoil it for others. It's becoming more and more familiar. So there's the white team and the black team. Your job is to count how many times the white team, someone on the white team, passes the ball to another person on the white team. So the white team is only going to pass the ball to another white team member. So you just count how many times they throw or they dribble or bounce the ball, thank you. Bounce the ball to a team member. That's all you need to do, okay? Don't worry about the black team. So it's really a sort of a looking at how well you can pay attention, okay?